everyone, I am Deep Patel from the Department of Mechanical Engineering. As you all know, we were discussing about the chapter number 12, that is transmission of motion and power. And in this chapter, we have discussed about the three basic drives. First was the belt drive, second was the gear drive, and third is the chain drive. Okay, now in this lecture, we will discuss about the comparison between these three drives. Also, we will discuss the comparison between the flat belt and the V belt. And then we will discuss about the bearings. What are the types of bearings? Okay, so let us start today's lecture with the comparison of flat belt drive and the V belt drive. So we know that in the flat belt drive the flat belt is used, and in the V belt drive V belt is used. We have already understand the difference between the flat belt and the V belt. Generally, the cross section of the flat belt is rectangle and the cross section of the V belt is the trapezoidal. So because of this cross section, the flat belt generate less friction than the V belt. Okay, so we can say that our first difference is it is suitable for the moderate power transmission when the center distance between the shaft is large. But the V-belt drive is suitable for the high power transmission when the center distance between the shaft is small. Okay, so generally it is suitable for the large center distance and the V-belt is suitable for the small center distance. Okay, next here we said that there is a lesser friction is generated in the flat belt and the higher friction is generated in the V belt. So we can say that there is a less frictional grip between the belt and the pulley in the case of the flat belt drive. But here the frictional grip will be high. Okay. Now next is the it requires large space because the cross section of the belt is the rectangle. So to engage with the pulley it requires the large space. But in the V belt, the cross section is the trapezoidal or the V section. So we can say that due to its compactness, it requires less space. Okay. Now the next is in the flat belt drive, we cannot generate the high velocity ratio because here there is a chances of slip. Okay, but in the V belt drive, we can generate the high velocity ratio because here there is very less chance of the slip. Okay, so these are the some basic difference between the flat belt drive and the V belt drive. Okay. Now our next comparison is comparison between the belt drive, chain drive and the gear drive. Okay, so let us understand that. So the first is the main elements. So in the belt drive we know that the main elements are pulley and belt. In the chain drive the main elements are sprocket and chain. In the gear drive the main elements are gear. That gear may be of any type like spur gear, helical gear, bevel gear, spiral gear. Okay, but the main element is gear. Okay, next the chances of slip. So we know that the belt drive is a frictional drive, so there is a chances of slip there. Okay, but the gear drive and the chain drive are the positive drive, so there is a no chances of slip. Okay, next is the suitability. Now generally the belt drive is suitable for the large center distance. Okay, but the chain drive and the gear drive is not suitable for the large center distance. Okay, it is generally for the small center distance. Okay, next the space requirement. Okay, so the for the belt drive the large space is required. For the chain drive space is required but it is less compared to the belt drive, and for the gear drive there is a very less space is required. So in our automobile vehicle we generally use the gear drive. Okay, because the space is very limited in the automobile. Next, the life of belt is very less. Life of chain is higher than the belt and the life of gear is very high, that we already know. Okay, next is the lubrication. So in the belt drive there is no any kind of lubrication is required. If we provide the lubrication then the friction loss will be occur. So any kind of lubrication is not required in the case of the belt drive. But in the chain drive and in the gear drive some amount of the lubrication is required. In the gear drive more lubrication is required compared to the chain drive. Okay, next the installation cost. Okay, so in the belt drive the installation cost is very less. In the chain drive, the installation cost is higher compared to the belt drive, and in the gear drive, the installation cost is very high. Our last parameter is the use. Where it is used, so the belt drive is generally used for the low velocity ratio. Okay, because here there is a chances of slip and creep. So generally we use belt drive for the low velocity ratio. The chain drive is used for the moderate velocity ratio, and for the high velocity ratio generally we are using the gear drive. Okay, so these are the comparison between the three basic drive: belt drive, chain drive and the gear drive. Okay. Now our next topic is the bearing. Okay, so what is the meaning of bearing? So we can say that bearing is a machine member which supports the moving element. Generally it is known as the journal. Okay, it supports against the radial and axial load which is imposed on the shaft. Okay, so to support the shaft we provide the bearing. If this is a shaft, then to support the shaft generally we provide the bearing, so shaft can be easily rotated. Okay, also it bears the axial and the radial load. Okay, now next is it reduce the frictional resistance on the moving element and resulting reduce the power loss. Okay, so the bearing is used for reducing the frictional resistance. Okay, now there are mainly two type of the bearing is available. First is the sliding contact bearing and second is the rolling contact bearing. So here we will discuss one by one what is the meaning of sliding contact bearing and what is the meaning of rolling contact bearing. Okay, so let us start with the sliding contact bearing. So we can say that in this bearing, the motion between the shaft and bearing surface is purely sliding. Okay, and we can categorize that sliding contact bearing into the two type. First is the radial bearing and second is the thrust bearing. You can see from this figure that in the radial bearing what happens, the load is perpendicular to the axis of the shaft. Okay, here you can see from the figure number 1 that the load is perpendicular to the axis of the shaft. So to bear this kind of the load we generally use the radial bearing. Okay, now second is the thrust bearing. In the thrust bearing the load is acting along the axis of the shaft. Here you can see this figure is of the thrust bearing. Okay, so we can say that here in the thrust bearing the load is acting along the axis of the shaft. So according to the load or according to our application we can use radial contact bearing or the thrust bearing. Okay, thrust bearing is also sometimes known as the general bearing. Okay, so this is what all about the sliding contact bearing. Now our second is the rolling contact bearing. Now what is the meaning of rolling contact bearing? In this bearing the motion between the shaft and the bearing surface is pure rolling. So here there will be a rolling contact, and if there will be a rolling contact then the friction will be very less in the case of the rolling contact bearing. In the case of sliding contact bearing there was the surface contact, so that the friction is higher compared to the rolling contact bearing. Okay, so we can say that the rolling contact bearing is the anti-frictional bearing because here the friction is almost zero. Okay, now there are two type of the rolling contact bearing. First is the ball bearing, and in the ball bearing we can say that there are two type. First is the radial ball bearing and second is the thrust ball bearing. Radial and thrust are categorized according to the same that we have already discussed, that in the radial contact bearing the force will be perpendicular to the axis, and in the thrust ball bearing there will be a force along the axis of the shaft. Okay, now second is the roller bearing. So in the roller bearing we can also categorize it into the radial roller bearing and the tapered roller bearing. Okay, so these are the classification of the rolling contact bearing. But first you have to understand that in the rolling contact bearing the contact between the shaft and the bearing is only rolling contact. In the sliding contact bearing entire surface will be in contact with the shaft, so we can say that there will be a some friction is present, but here there is no friction, so sometimes we also called rolling contact bearing as a anti-friction bearing. Okay, so this is what all about the bearings. Now our next topic is the gear train. So what is the meaning of gear train? we can say that it is the arrangement of the number of gear which transmit the motion and power from one shaft to the another shaft. In our last lecture, we have discussed about the various types of the gears. Okay, but generally the gears are used for the very small center distance. Okay, but if the center distance between the shaft is too high, then we can use the gear train. Okay, so there are many types of the gear trains are available, like simple gear train, compound gear train, reverted gear train, and the epicyclic gear train. So according to our application, we can use different types of the gear train. Generally in the automatic car, epicyclic gear trains is used. Okay, when the center distance is very large, we can use the simple gear train. When we require large velocity ratio, we can use the compound gear train. When we require same rotation of the driving and driven shaft, there we can use the reverted gear train. So according to the application, we can use different types of the gear train. Okay, so we can say that in the gear train, the velocity ratio between the driving and the driven shaft is depends on the type of combination of gear which is arranged in the gear train. Okay, so this is what all about the gear train. Now I am moving on our last topic of this chapter, that is the difference between the individual drive and the group drive. Okay, so first of all, you have to understand the basic definition of the individual drive and the group drive. Now in the individual drive, there will be a one motor and it will run the one machine. Okay, but in the group drive, there will be a one motor and it can run different machines. Okay, so in the individual drive, one motor will run one machine. In the group drive, one motor will run 2, 3, 4, yeah, many number of machines. Okay, so let us start the comparison between the individual drive and the group drive. So generally, this individual drive is used for the small size workshop. Okay, but the group drives can be suitable for the medium or the large size workshop. Okay. Next, the speed of the machine can control separately, because here we use separate motor for the separate machine. So automatically we can control the speed of the individual machine. Okay, here we require set of the cone pulley for the speed reduction or to increase the speed. Okay, now our third point is that if the failure of any motor is occur, then it will not affect the other machine, because here one machine has one motor. But here in the group drive, what happens? If the failure of motor is occur, then all the machines will be stopped. Okay, so that is the one drawback of the group drive. Why? Because here if the motor will be stopped, then all the machines will be stopped. So we cannot generate any kind of the component. Okay, but here individual machine has individual motor, so we can control the other machine if the one motor is failed. Okay, now our last point is the high initial capital investment is required in the case of the individual drive, and in the group drive less initial capital investment is required. Why? Because here one separate machine having one separate motor, so you have to purchase more number of motors. Okay, so the initial capital investment is high in the case of individual drive, but the capital investment or the initial capital investment is low in the group drive compared to the individual drive. Okay, so these are some basic difference between the individual drive and the group drive. Okay, so in this lecture we have discussed about the gear train, then we have discussed about the comparison between the belt drive, gear drive and the chain drive. Also we have discussed the comparison between the flat belt drive and the V belt drive, and in the last we have discussed about the individual drive, group drive, and what is the difference between the individual and the group drive. Okay, so this is what all about today's lecture. Thank you for today.